Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the free-to-play players priority list for the relics. Now, this video is going to include only the relics that are viable purely for free-to-play players and nothing really that is for spending or relying on the luck, such as the Fortune Tower. The first relic on this list is going to be Magatama. I talked about this relic on the previous video, but to recap, Magatama is one of the best relics in the game by far, both PvP and PvE. Its Link skill effect, which unlocks at 3 stars, is basically Mulan in a relic. You will be using this skill effect. Link skills basically are fake, don't really care about them, don't worry about it. So the Karmic Fire is basically your Mulan in a pocket. And you will be using this relic in any PvE in the game that requires you to deal a lot of percent max HP damages. This relic is going to carry you in the Celestial Trials, in the Rift Odyssey, in the Forgotten Lands, and in the any other PvE content that you can imagine, apart from some niche contents, but that's really rare and not that important. So apart from that, this relic will increase the attack of your team by 10%, I believe, at the first level, and then it scales up to 50% at 4 stars, which is a massive boost because everything this relic does relies on the team's average attack, especially its damage and the other skills. So the other skill is Spirit Link, which is basically Mavis on that passive, which basically bombs the entire enemy team. Now this passive becomes truly broken at 8 stars, before that it's just okay, and it really shines at 6 stars, which is the ideal place for free-to-play players to stop in my opinion, if they care about the PvP. If not, you can stop at 5 stars with Magatama, but if you want to improve your PvP as well, you should stop at 6 stars. After 6 stars, it becomes quite expensive, but you will eventually want to push this relic to 8 stars. So, as I mentioned, you will start by getting this relic to 3 stars, and after this relic is 3 stars, we will be moving on to the Soulbinding lens. So, Soulbinding lens is yet another relic that I talked about in the previous video. Because it's so good, I suggest spending money on it, as well as Magatama, although not a lot of money. So the Soulbinding lens has a feeble effect, which doesn't do what it says. Feeble effect means the hero will repeat its action. So if your Pandora ults, she will ult again if the enemies have feeble on them. So this description is pretty wrong, and you shouldn't read it as it says. You should basically test a lot of things. So this relic will make your heroes use their ultimates double, but it does not work on supports such as Seraphina, such as Cleopatra, Atropos, and others that do not hit enemies. This relic is amazing, it's very much needed for the Rift Odyssey and other PvE content as well as PvP. It has one of the best synergies in the game, same as Magatama, and you will be likely pairing them a lot together. The damage reduction isn't that felt in my opinion. I have no idea whether it even works, to be honest. I haven't tested it a lot because you don't really care about it. You only care about the mauling wine, which applies feeble effect. So for this relic you needed 3 stars to unlock the double action skill, and then you want 5 stars to have it be reliable. Now, I do not recommend rushing to 5 stars because, as I said, you want Magatama 3 stars and then the Soulbinding lens to 3 stars, and then you want to move to the other relics. Why are we moving to the other relics instead of investing into a more reliable relic that is already good? Well, it's because Omniheroes requires a lot of teams in a plenty amount of content, and especially because of the PvP. Now, when I make guides, I assume an average player is going to care about PvP and PvE about as equally, honestly. So that's why I'm trying to make a guides that are both fulfilling to PvP and PvE and find the middle ground, which this guide is about. If you do not care about PvE or PvP, if you're just a one type of person, I don't think this game is going to be a lot of fun for you, because PvP is money heavy in the top ends. Not before that. Before that you can use your skills to win, but in the top ends it's really you don't really have a lot of chance as a free-to-play player compared to a VIP 11 player, for example. So that's why it's important to have some focus on PvE and some focus on PvP, and then just enjoy the both sides of the game. If you're going to focus purely on PvE, there's not a lot of content that you can do as a free-to-play player without a lot of heroes, without a lot of relics. That's why it's important to care equally about both, and then just purely enjoy the game as it is and progress in both contents. I know PvP can be hard, but you will understand it over time. Just take time to learn, take time to watch some battles, and ask yourself questions like, why did I lose, what could I have done better, and etc. Now, to return to the topic, next relic is going to be the Forbidden Chest. So Forbidden Chest, you will be using it in PvE and PvP, although you will be dropping it in PvE later, but actually quite later, not really this early, like maybe 6 months into the game. So what do you need from Forbidden Chest? You want it 3 stars as per usual, because it will allow your relics to cast twice. Now, how can you utilize this? You will pair it with the Swords of Chaos, which apply 2 holy shields per cast, and with this relic you have a decent chance to apply it 2 times, so 4 holy shields to entirety of your team with this relic. Another part of this relic that is broken is the reduce energy from the relics of enemies. This is pretty amazing effect, especially if you get the Forbidden Chest to 9 stars to basically instantly cast it, and then the enemy will have not energy for their relics. As I said, this relic is both PvE and PvP oriented, a bit more PvP at the max stars since you will be having other relics for PvE, but nonetheless still great relic for the early game because of the combination of the Chaos Blades, other Swords of Chaos. Next relic on the list is the Cauldron, and Cauldron makes your team immune the round it casts. So if you cast Cauldron round 1, your team will not be taking any damage, like no Misty Forest damage, no Dooms damage, no Reflect damage, no Burn damage. Any damage is negated and your team will survive that. Although the side effect is your frontline members will take that damage over the course of the next 2 rounds split. So this relic is amazing for surviving things such as Doom's Reflect, such as Pandora round 1 or Eudora round 1, and other things that are heavily reliant on killing your team in the first or second round. So it only works 1 round, so you have to cast it immediately the round starts for it to have a maximum efficiency of the relic. Apart from that, this is more of a PvP relic and you only need 2 stars for it. Getting it above 2 stars is not significant at all, and it can stay 2 stars forever. You will be using it almost every time in PvP such as Yggdrasil or Arena, especially in the early game. Next relic on the list is the Demon Bane Whip, and this relic is here only because it pairs nicely with Ophelia and because it's a chrono relic that provides sustain. You will be using it in PvE and PvP, but you will be slowly replacing it later in as the game goes and as you progress. This relic is mainly here because it's a chrono relic and because it will pair nicely with your Underworld chest, Swords of Chaos. After this, there's no really actual guide. You have plenty of options. The 2 main options are going purely wide range, such as for PvP and just for the sake of collection and having relics ready to use, or going further enhancing the already strong and mentioned relics. Magatama truly shines at 6 stars for PvP, at 5 stars for PvE, so you can go back and basically redo all of your relics and further enhance their strength. You want Magatama at 5 stars for PvE and at 6 stars for PvP, and then you will want Soulbinding Lens at 5 stars for its far more reliable double action. Next up, you will be wanting Forbidden Chest at 6 stars, and then you will be wanting other PvP relics such as Underworld Key, Umbra Star, Judgment Blades, and many others. The relics that I did not mention in this guide are basically the Knight's Edge, the Famine Scale, the Scythe, and all of these relics that you can see that I did not mention. It's because they are not worthy of picking up in the rebates unless you're absolute giga whale, which in this video we're talking about free-to-play players. So you will be getting these relics from the pity pools in the rebates and from the other sources, such as the end of season relic chest, but you will be mainly picking up the forbidden chest from there, and such as Relic Shop and the Rift Odyssey has a lot of relic chests that have not been updated, so you will be picking up these relics. I will leave a image of the priority for these relics, but yeah, they're not really as important. Don't get me wrong, they're really strong relics, but they're mostly for PvP, because in the endgame PvE you will not be using these relics over relics such as Banner, such as Soulbinding Lens, such as the Chest, or Magatama, or Kusanagi, or Sarcophagus. So yeah, they're amazing relics, but they're quite outdated, and their only sole purpose now is to be in PvP teams, which are there are a lot, and as a relic synergy bots. So I hope this video was helpful. That's my suggestion so far. So to recap, Magatama 3 stars, Soulbinding Lens as well, then the Forbidden Chest, then the Cauldron, and the Whip. Now you can either after this split to PvP side, or you can split to have a versatile side, which I would suggest going versatile, of course, and then after having enough relics for your teams in the World Arena or Foggy, I would suggest going further in the Magatama and Soulbinding Lens tiers. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully it helps you, and see you in the next one.